I will probably start trying to market a little bit different ways to narrow my focus.
Yeah.
Because I do a lot.
How many cruises have you guys been on, Lisa? She is like a cruise
Yeah.
person.
I love to cruise personally, so it helps when I talk to other people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that really does, just like whoever was just talking about you with Vietnam. It comes across. People know they, you know. So if I told you how many cruises, I really have not kept track, but
A lot.
probably 50 maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I saw, because when I met her and Dave cruised all the time because we've known each other now for a long time, and I'm like, cruising? Well,
Right.
That sucks.
She did it. They went on one and they didn't like it.
I hated it. I hated it. That was not for me, but I mean, that's the crazy part about if you keep your mind open and you always
And now you're sitting in the Haven.
Yes.
That sucks. One thing about cruising,
Very
the
good
reason why
point.
it's fun is because you do get to see so many places.
Yeah, exactly.
I really do not like the concept of packing and unpacking, and so the idea of cruising
I agree.
to see so many places is really wonderful. If you like a place, you can always go back there and stay.
But I'm here now.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And the service is great, the food is great, you get to drink what you want, you don't have to drink what they want to give you, you know.
Yes.
I mean, there's just so many really great things about cruising. It's not that I do everything, really. I mean, I do all-inclusives, I do Disney, I do river cruises, I do escorted tours, so.
Floating resort.
Yeah.
Floating resort.
I like it.
That's what I love.
I like it a lot.
Okay,
Should we go back to B?
Yeah, we are going to
And-
have to go back to B. we had to. I think it's fair. We go back to B before we move on from L.
Yes.
Sounds great.
Yes.
See, it's,
Obviously, I'm a B.
yeah.
Looking at me. It's Brenda Bayless, double B's actually.
Oh.
I am from Western Colorado, and I started, and I guess we're starting with where we started.
Yeah,
We got
yeah.
a travel class. Okay, I'm what we specialize in. So I started in travel back when I worked corporately in engineering, sales, and business development, and so I did a lot of travel myself, and then traveling, Mexico all over, but not Mexico to the great, wonderful resort areas, but to the middle where manufacturing happens.
Yes.
Oh, what a fun place.
So
Yeah.
I got to see parts of Mexico that I don't sell, so I don't know very much about that. But anyway, and I won trips, being in sales as well, so I got to travel and do some tours, see good ones, see bad ones. I guess my worst experience, which I remember always when I'm worrying about travel now for my clients, is won a trip to Guadalupe, and very excited about that, and we're on a plane, and we landed they came over and said, you'll now be landing in Port-au-Prince. And this was not when it was a good thing to go to Haiti.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a mother of 3 small children. I don't think I should be here. This is not a good thing. And so we landed, and armed guards were on the runway, and we had to walk through them, and we're in a hut. And I was like, oh, this is very, very interesting. And so my flight was not a one-way. It was a direct flight, but it had a stop, right? So, yeah. So, anyway, we did, take off, and it was all great, but it taught me a lesson about making sure about what travel arrangements are all about, and so we didn't have to stop there on the way back from Guadalupe, and it was a great trip, but I specialize in islands and Alaska a lot. I get a lot of Alaska requests from Western Colorado. Seems like I live in an area where there's a lot of older travelers and people that are more kind of retired area. too. So I get a lot of bucket list trip requests and river cruising and Alaska, but mostly Alaska people come to me for. And I love Alaska, so I'm excited to know more about the Norwegian product because I haven't been doing Norwegian. So
Did you go to the Discover Alaska presentation?
Yes, I did. And
Did
she
you
was
like it?
great.
Yeah, she's
She was
fabulous,
great.
isn't she?
Yes.
Feeling a connection here.
I did that.
I'm feeling a connection.
So I after I was in corporate travel and everything, and my kids were young, I wanted to homeschool them all, which I did, and they're all in college now. So I moved to Colorado during that time, and I started working for an airline. So I did 10 years working for an airline, and I really love to teach. So I actually learned all the computer systems like boom boom in my first 3 months, and I then got a job in the corporate training department. And so I taught ticketing, customer service, all of that for an airline for many years. I taught multiple codes too because I worked for a regional, so I taught every code that United's had for a while, as well as Delta and of course Continental, but then the merger. So that's how I really started thinking, I see all these people that really need help when they travel and are clueless. I always say people walk into an airport and lose their minds.
Yeah, they do.
Sucks right back up.
Somehow. It goes right out the window. My kids are afraid of buses, but because they've flown their whole lives basically. So they say, I don't understand why people get upset in the airport because it's ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, or the bus schedules are like crazy scary. So they're really bad at geography after all of that because to them everything was a plane ride as opposed to driving across country. But so that's how I started. I had a spreadsheet too when I was looking for a host agency. Once I found out that there were different ways to become, into the travel business, and there were a few things that I was looking for. And Travel Quest fit that, and I love Bonnie's story and how she started, and just being, I guess, from starting being a travel agent to building the company, and it wasn't so corporate that it was going to feel like I was working in a corporate environment still. Didn't want that again, and so then I got a bunch of training because I believe in training because love to train people. And so that's why I always think of my job as making sure that people are really well educated on what they're going to do with their trip and giving them all the details and making sure. I love to help other travel agents learn, what is right and what is wrong. And so that's what brought me to Travel Quest. And I got my CTA. I just got my Travel Leader Specialist.
Whoa.
I'm working on, I get to watch the stage at Edge, so I'm excited. And like I said, because I love training. And I'm now starting to work on my group and my active and adventure. And so I'm excited about that, and looking forward to, I hope, going on an Intrepid trip this year. So I met Carolyn. She's super great, and I really appreciate being here on the Joy because it's been a great experience experiencing Norwegian. I've been on probably a dozen cruises, and I had never had the opportunity to be on Norwegian, so I'm excited to be here and really enjoying it a lot. So thank you very much.
Great.
Okay, so what's our next letter?
I have a question from Brenda real quick. Where are you from on the Western Slope?
I am at Olathe.
Okay.
Yeah, so
We're in
I
Colorado
cover
Springs,
pretty much Grand Junction to
Yep.
Telluride.
Yep.
Most of my business right now has been coming out of Grand Junction.
That makes sense.
And so it's all
My nephew goes to school
old.
there.
Oh, at Mesa?
It's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah. And, yes. So Colorado Mesa University
That's
now.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Because I'm not
I know,
good at
'cause you
the
guys are
alphabet
from
because I
Colorado
had
Springs,
a lot
right?
of
Yeah.
my
Are
so
you?
what do we
Sorry,
have?
sorry.
M.
Oh really?
And Hampton
We live
here.
about, we're on the west side, so we're
M.
close to
M.
the
N.
P.
Who's next? Y'all know who's next.
You
They're
are.
gonna be next.
S.
We only
Two S's.
We got a couple. Oh, and we got Cinda. So now we got.
You should put me at the end.
Oh, we'll put you at the end. Okay, not that you belong there, but we'll put you there.
Go ahead.
I'm Sandy Haddock, and I'm currently in Rochester, Minnesota. I have lived in San Diego, also Washington State. We moved to Minnesota gosh, it's been over 5 years now. That's crazy to think about. I was always in the corporate world for 20 plus years in supply chain and logistics. So negotiated container contracts and trucking and small package and all that stuff, and planned shop floors. I too, in the corporate world, went to many places in not so fun Mexico. Traveled for my job, and I remember doing my first triptych when I was 8 years old to go back to my grandparents in South Dakota, and at that time we were in California. So my mom thought it'd be a good lesson, and that's when I got my first taste of really just planning something. And so I too, like many of you, became the go-to for my friends and family. And with our move to Minnesota, my mom had passed away the year previous, and so my dad followed, and I knew I wanted something that would give me more flexibility, and I also wanted to follow my passion. So my husband said, why don't you go open your agency, look into what it takes. And I had that first summer with my kids. I have 2 teenage boys. God bless the stay-at-home moms, but it was not me. I needed, you know, I think for so many years being in the corporate world, I needed to feel like I was still, you know, giving to the family, and because of that, that makes me better. That's the whole family is better. So you know, I went through the list and narrowed down to 3 and interviewed 3 host agencies, and I too felt that Travel Plus was definitely the best for me. So also a Disney person.
I was going to say, you're Disney.
Yeah.
I know.
Yes.
You can't get away rid of us.
No, I
But
can't.
also for the cruises, I sell the most in Norwegian.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you know, like Lisa, someday I'll narrow down. But for now, just kind of do a little bit of everything, and really enjoying. It's awesome when we can get TQ together. That's how I met my pal Judy here, and Dana, Lisa. All, you know, it's been really, really great to get to know other agents and just how helpful we all can be to each other.
That's
you know.
what I thought. This is just a really good opportunity to tell your story, because you guys all have, we all have the same story.
Yeah.
It's a variation, but the same.
Yeah, so I went cold turkey on corporate and started travel, I guess, full time, but starting out, you're part time. Because you don't, being new to Minnesota too, I didn't know. I just became a networking queen.
You are a networking queen.
Yeah, so
I always appreciate people like that. That's a tough job.
it is, but once you get the first few under your belt and you do a good job, word of mouth just spreads like wildfire. So, so I'm very conscientious of that, and pay back those who refer.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Cool, thanks.
Riders on the storm out there.
Exactly.
It's too hot to close.
I just
Yeah.
turned the air down.
Yeah. I'm Samantha Davis. I'm from Colorado Springs. I go by Sam. I'm from Colorado Springs, Colorado. A little bit about backstory. So I grew up in northeastern Oklahoma, very small town. It all ties in that my job, my full-time job, other than doing this, is that I've been a music administrator for our school district in Whitefield, School District 3 in Colorado Springs, for a long time now. So I basically am a principal for all of the music teachers and work to keep music alive in our schools. So,
Not so easy. And
Yeah.
our district's gotten multiple national awards because of that sound. Is great.
and so that all being said, I was a choir kid for all of my life, and I'm a singer, and so I didn't get to go anywhere as a kid. I mean, I really did not. My parents, my father, didn't want to travel at all. We never left our house. We might go to our grandmother. My grandmother's 30 minutes away, but we never went anywhere else. And so all I ever wanted to do was travel. And when I was a senior in high school, my high school choir director put together an EF tour, that educational tour thing that teachers do. And I got my parents to agree to let me go. And actually my mom went to Europe and did a 22-day tour across Europe. And I was done. It's like at that point, that's all I wanted to do was travel. And so But I went into education. I'm glad I did, and I've been in that profession now for a while, and but since then, I plan all the travel for. I was planning all the travel for any of my family and friends, for us, for anybody that wanted to travel. It was just constant. And in 2015, so June of 2015, one of our very good friends, who was a retired teacher, asked me if she was getting ready to go to the Netherlands, and she was like, I don't know anything about this. I don't know what to do about this. I just don't have any idea. She's like, but you know everything, so you guys travel all the time. So can you help me with this? And I
That's
said,
pretty much how she's kind of a Bonnie.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah. She's like, can you just do it? And
Just
it's
do
like,
it for me.
yeah, just do it. And I said, yes. Tell me what you want, and I'll look for it for you. And I booked her flights and did all this different stuff. And she got back and she said, why are you not doing this for a living? Why are you not doing this? You are so good at this. You should be doing this.